"Mommy said to wait here," one twin said, clutching his teddy bear. "She's not coming back, idiot," his brother whispered, pointing at the plane pulling away. Inside the first-class cabin, the stepmother raised a champagne glass. Finally, a vacation without those pests. Suddenly, the plane engines shut down. The captain's voice boomed, "We are returning to the gate. Someone forgot their baggage and their conscience." But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. You two sit there and do not move. Karen Brooks stood in the kitchen doorway with her arms crossed. Her blonde hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Her voice was cold. Jake Martinez looked up from the small table in the corner. His twin brother Luke sat next to him. They were 7 years old. They had been awake for 10 minutes. "We are sitting," Jake said quietly. Karen walked to the stove. She poured pancake batter into a hot pan. The smell filled the kitchen. Jake's stomach hurt from hunger. He had not eaten dinner last night. Karen said he left a glass on the counter, so he did not deserve food. Emma walked into the kitchen. She was 9 years old. She had blonde hair like her mother. She wore new pajamas with pink flowers. "Good morning, sweetie," Karen said. Her voice was completely different now. It was warm and soft. "I am making your favorite pancakes." "Thanks, Mom," Emma said. She sat at the big table. The table had 6 chairs. Jake and Luke never sat there. Karen said that table was for family. Tyler came in next. He was 8 years old. He wore a new shirt with a superhero on it. He sat next to Emma. "Morning, Tyler," Karen said. "Do you want chocolate chips in your pancakes?" "Yes, please," Tyler said. Jake watched Karen cook. She made 4 big pancakes. She put them on 2 plates. She added strawberries and whipped cream. She gave 1 plate to Emma and 1 to Tyler. "Eat up," Karen said. "We have a big day today." Jake's stomach made a noise. Luke looked at him. Luke's eyes were sad. They were always sad now. Karen walked to the toaster. She put in 2 pieces of bread. She did not look at Jake and Luke. The toast popped up after 2 minutes. Karen put the dry toast on a small plate. She walked to the corner table. She dropped the plate in front of the twins. "Eat fast," she said. "I do not want you making us late." Jake picked up 1 piece of toast. It was hard and cold. He broke it in half. He gave 1 half to Luke. They ate in silence. Michael Martinez walked into the kitchen. He was their father. He was tall with brown hair and glasses. He wore his work clothes. "Good morning, everyone," Michael said. He smiled, but his smile looked tired. "Morning, Dad," Emma and Tyler said together. "Morning," Jake whispered. Luke did not say anything. Michael poured coffee into a mug. He sat at the big table with Emma and Tyler. Karen stood behind him. She put her hands on his shoulders. "Michael, tell the kids the news," Karen said. Michael looked at all 4 children. "We are taking a family vacation. We are going to Hawaii." Emma and Tyler started yelling with excitement. They clapped their hands. Karen laughed and hugged them. Jake looked at Luke. Luke's eyes were wide. They had never been on a plane before. They had never been on any vacation. Their mother died 3 years ago. Since then, they only went to school and back home. "Really?" Jake asked. His voice was so quiet almost no one heard. Michael turned to look at him. "Yes, Jake, all of us are going. We leave today." "Today?" Luke said. It was the first word he had spoken all morning. "Yes," Michael said. "We are driving to Los Angeles. Our flight leaves this afternoon." Jake felt something strange in his chest. It felt like hope. Maybe things would be different on vacation. Maybe Karen would be nicer. Maybe they would feel like a real family. "Go get dressed," Karen said. She looked at Jake and Luke. Her eyes were hard. "Wear your regular clothes, and be quick." Jake and Luke went to their bedroom. It was very small. It used to be a storage room. 1 bed filled most of the space. The boys shared it. The walls were white and empty. Karen threw away all their pictures of their mother. "Do you think it will be fun?" Luke asked. He pulled on his jeans. They were too short. His ankles showed. "I do not know," Jake said. He put on his shirt. It had a small hole near the bottom. "Maybe. Maybe she will be nicer on vacation," Luke said. Jake did not answer. He did not think Karen would ever be nice to them, but he did not want to make Luke sad. Luke was smaller and thinner than Jake. He got sick easily. Jake always tried to protect him. They walked back to the kitchen. Emma and Tyler were gone. Michael was loading suitcases into the car. Karen stood in the hallway. She had 3 big suitcases next to her. They were expensive brown leather. Emma and Tyler had new backpacks. The backpacks were full. Jake could see games and snacks inside. "Do we bring anything?" Jake asked Karen. "Like what?" Karen said. "I do not know. Clothes?" "You are wearing clothes," Karen said. "That is enough." Luke's face fell. Jake took his hand. He squeezed it 3 times. That was their secret signal. It meant, "I am here." It meant you are not alone. It meant we will be okay. Michael came back inside. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready," Karen said. She picked up her purse. It was a big designer bag. Jake saw the logo. He did not know what brand it was, but he knew it was expensive. They all walked to the car. Michael put the suitcases in the trunk. Karen sat in the front passenger seat. She pulled down the mirror. She put on lipstick. It was bright red. Emma and Tyler got in the back seat. Jake and Luke climbed in last. There was barely room. They pressed against the door. The drive from San Diego to Los Angeles took 2 hours. Karen did not speak to Jake and Luke once. She talked to Michael about the hotel. She talked about the beach. She talked about restaurants. Emma and Tyler played games on tablets. Jake and Luke looked out the window. They watched the highway pass by. "Are you excited?" Luke whispered to Jake. "Yes," Jake lied. "Do you think she will be nicer on vacation?" Jake squeezed his brother's hand 3 times. He did not answer. They arrived at Los Angeles International Airport at noon. The airport was huge. Cars filled every lane. People walked everywhere with suitcases. Michael parked the car in a big garage. Everyone got out. Michael opened the trunk. He pulled out all the suitcases. "Karen, take the kids to the terminal," Michael said. "I need to check these bags at a different counter. Meet me at gate 42. "Fine," Karen said. She put on her designer sunglasses even though they were inside. "Gate 42, Michael repeated. "I will meet you there in 20 minutes. Karen nodded. She took Emma's hand. She took Tyler's hand. She looked at Jake and Luke. "Follow me," she said. "Do not get lost." They walked into the terminal. The airport was loud and crowded. Hundreds of people rushed past. Screens showed flight information. Jake tried to stay close to Karen, but she walked fast. Emma and Tyler had no trouble keeping up. Jake held Luke's hand tight. They reached the security checkpoint. A man in a uniform checked their identification. Karen showed him papers. He waved them through. They walked through a metal detector. Nobody stopped them. They kept walking down a long hallway. Gates were on both sides. Gate 1, Gate 5, Gate 12. They walked and walked. Finally, they reached Gate 42. It was at the very end of the terminal. A big window showed a white airplane outside. People sat in chairs waiting to board. A woman in a blue uniform stood at a desk. She had a microphone. Karen stopped walking. She looked at the gate. Then she looked at Jake and Luke. Her expression changed. Jake saw something in her eyes. It made his stomach feel sick. Karen smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was something else. "Sit on that bench," Karen said. She pointed to a bench near the window. "Your father will come get you soon." "Where are you going?" Luke asked. Karen did not answer. She took Emma and Tyler by their hands. She walked toward the desk. The woman in the uniform scanned 3 pieces of paper. Karen smiled at the woman. Then Karen walked through a door. Emma and Tyler went with her. They disappeared down a hallway. The hallway led to the plane. Jake watched through the window. He felt confused. He looked at Luke. "Why did she leave?" Luke asked. "I do not know," Jake said. They sat on the bench. Minutes passed. More people walked to the gate. The woman at the desk scanned their papers. They all walked through the door. They all went down the hallway to the plane. Jake's hands started to shake. Something was very wrong. He did not understand what was happening, but he knew it was bad. The feeling in his stomach got worse. Karen's smile flashed in his mind. That strange, cold smile. She looked at them like they were nothing, like they did not matter, like they were not even human. Jake squeezed Luke's hand 3 times. Luke looked at him with wide, scared eyes. The woman at the desk picked up her microphone. "Final boarding call for Flight 673 to Honolulu. All remaining passengers, please board now." Jake stood up. He pulled Luke with him. They had to get on that plane. Their father said they were going to Hawaii, all of them together. But deep in his heart, Jake knew the truth. Karen left them behind on purpose. Jake pulled Luke toward the desk. His heart was beating fast. The woman in the blue uniform was closing folders. She had short blonde hair and a name tag that said Jennifer. "Excuse me," Jake said. His voice was too quiet. The woman did not hear him. "Excuse me," Jake said louder. Jennifer looked down at them. She smiled. "Hello, can I help you?" "We need to get on the plane," Jake said. "Our family is on there." Jennifer's smile stayed on her face. "Okay. May I see your boarding passes?" Jake looked at Luke. Luke looked at Jake. Neither of them had papers. "Our stepmother has them," Jake said. Jennifer's smile got smaller. "What is your name?" "Jake Martinez, and this is my brother Luke Martinez." Jennifer turned to her computer. She typed on the keyboard. Her eyes moved across the screen. She typed more. She frowned. "I am sorry," Jennifer said. "I do not see your names on this flight." "But our family is on the plane," Jake said. His voice was shaking now. "Our stepmother, Karen, and our brother and sister, Emma and Tyler." Jennifer typed again. "I see 4 passengers under Martinez. Karen Martinez, Michael Martinez, Emma Brooks, and Tyler Brooks. No Jake or Luke." "That is wrong," Jake said. "We are supposed to go to Hawaii. Our dad said so this morning." "Where is your father now?" Jennifer asked. "He went to check the bags. He told us to meet him here at gate 42. Jennifer looked at her watch. "This flight is departing now. I cannot hold it." "But we need to get on," Jake said. He could feel tears starting. He did not want to cry. He was the older brother. He had to be strong. "I am very sorry," Jennifer said. Her voice was kind but firm. "I cannot let you board without tickets, and your names are not in the system." She picked up her microphone. "This is the final boarding call for Flight 673 to Honolulu. The gate is now closed." Jennifer walked to the door. She pressed a button. The door closed with a loud click. Through the window, Jake saw the hallway disconnect from the plane. The plane door sealed shut. Luke started crying, real crying with sound. Other people in the gate area turned to look. A man with gray hair stared at them. A woman with a baby walked past without stopping. Jake put his arm around Luke. "It is okay," he whispered. But it was not okay. Nothing was okay. The plane outside started to move. It rolled backward slowly. Jake watched it pull away from the building. Karen was on that plane. Emma and Tyler were on that plane. They were leaving. They were going to Hawaii without Jake and Luke. "She left us," Luke said between sobs. "Karen left us here." Jake could not speak. His throat felt tight. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run after the plane. He wanted his mother. But his mother was dead. His mother had been dead for 3 years. "Boys, is someone meeting you?" Jennifer asked. She had walked back to her desk. Her face looked worried now. "Our dad," Jake said. "He is checking bags. Do you know where? Jake shook his head. The airport was huge. There were hundreds of counters, thousands of people. How would they find their father? Do you have a phone? Jennifer asked. No, Jake said. Does your father have a phone? Yes, but I do not know the number. Jennifer picked up her phone. I am going to call airport security. They can help find your father. She spoke quietly into the phone. Jake could not hear what she said. Luke leaned against Jake. His whole body was shaking. Jake held him tight. 3 minutes later, a security officer arrived. She was a woman with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her uniform was gray. Her badge said Officer P. Gomez. Hello, Officer Gomez said. She knelt down so she was at eye level with the boys. Jennifer called me. Can you tell me what happened? Jake told the story again. He said their father told them to meet at gate 42. He said their stepmother brought them here and then got on the plane. He said she left them behind. Did your stepmother say anything before she boarded? Officer Gomez asked. She told us to sit on the bench, Jake said. She said our dad would come get us soon. Officer Gomez's face changed. Her eyes got harder. She told you to wait, and then she got on the plane without you? Yes, Jake said. And your father does not know you are here? I do not think so, Jake said. He was checking bags somewhere else. Officer Gomez stood up. She spoke into a radio on her shoulder. I need help locating a passenger, Michael Martinez. He should be at a baggage check counter. His 2 sons are at gate 42, unattended. A man's voice came back through the radio. Copy that. Starting search now. Officer Gomez looked at Jennifer. Which flight did the stepmother board? Flight 673 to Honolulu, Jennifer said. It just pushed back from the gate. Officer Gomez spoke into her radio again. Contact the tower. I need Flight 673 returned to the gate immediately. Possible child abandonment situation. Luke looked up. His face was wet with tears. What does abandonment mean? Officer Gomez knelt down again. It means an adult left a child alone when they should not have, but you are not alone anymore. I am here. We are going to fix this. Is Karen in trouble? Luke asked. Let me worry about that, Officer Gomez said. Right now, I need to keep you safe. She stood and walked a few feet away. She spoke into her radio again. Jake could not hear everything, but he heard the words control tower and emergency. A man walked up to gate 42. He was very tall. He wore a dark blue uniform with gold stripes on the sleeves. He had gray hair cut short. His face had lines around his eyes. He looked at Jake and Luke. Then he looked at Officer Gomez. What is going on here? The man asked. Officer Gomez turned. Captain Miller, these 2 boys were left at the gate. Their stepmother boarded Flight 673 without them. Captain Miller walked closer. He looked at the boys carefully. His eyes went from Jake to Luke and back to Jake. What are your names? Captain Miller asked. His voice was deep and calm. Jake Martinez, Jake said. Luke Martinez, Luke whispered. Captain Miller's face went completely white. His mouth opened slightly. He stared at them. Martinez, he repeated. What was your mother's name? Jake did not understand why this man was asking about his mother, but something in the captain's voice made him answer. Sarah Chen, Jake said. Captain Miller's hands started shaking. He took a step back. He looked like someone had hit him. Sarah Chen, he said again. It was not a question. It was like he was remembering something painful. Did you know our mom? Luke asked. Captain Miller looked at Luke. His eyes were wet. Yes, I knew your mother very well. She was one of the best people I ever met. How did you know her? Jake asked. Captain Miller took a deep breath. I worked for her. Your mother was my boss. Our mom was a flight attendant, Jake said. Captain Miller shook his head slowly. No, Jake, your mother was not a flight attendant. She was much more than that. What do you mean? Jake asked. Captain Miller did not answer right away. He turned to Officer Gomez. Did you call the tower? Yes, Officer Gomez said. They are radioing the plane now. Good, Captain Miller said. He turned back to the boys. Your mother asked me to do something a long time ago. She made me promise that if you ever needed help, I would be there. I am here now. I am going to make sure you are safe. The plane is coming back? Luke asked. Yes, Captain Miller said. That plane is coming back, and when it does, we are going to get some answers. Through the window, Jake saw something. The plane had stopped moving. It was far away on the taxiway, but it was not moving toward the runway anymore. It just sat there. Then slowly it started to turn around. It is coming back, Jake said. Captain Miller nodded. Yes, it is. Why? Luke asked. Captain Miller looked at both boys. Because what your stepmother did is a crime. She cannot get away with it. Jennifer spoke into her microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 673 is returning to the gate due to an operational issue. Please remain in the boarding area. The plane grew bigger in the window. It was coming back toward Gate 42. Jake could see the nose. He could see the windows. Karen was on that plane. She thought she was going to Hawaii. She thought she got rid of Jake and Luke forever. Captain Miller walked to a vending machine near the gate. He put money in. He pressed buttons. 2 candy bars fell out. He brought them to Jake and Luke. Here, he said, you look hungry. Jake took the candy bar. It was chocolate. He had not had chocolate in months. Karen never bought them treats. Thank you, Jake said. Thank you, Luke said. They opened the candy bars and ate. The chocolate tasted good. It made Jake feel a little better. Not much, but a little. The plane pulled up to the gate. The hallway connected to the door. Jennifer pressed buttons on her computer. The door to the jet bridge opened. Captain Miller took Jake's hand. He took Luke's hand. Come with me, he said. Where are we going? Jake asked. We are getting on that plane, Captain Miller said. And we are bringing you to your stepmother. Officer Gomez followed them. They walked through the door and down the hallway. The hallway led to the plane. Jake could hear voices inside. Confused voices, angry voices. They stepped onto the plane. Every single person turned to look at them. A flight attendant stood at the front. She looked surprised. Captain Miller, she said. What is happening? Where is Karen Martinez? Captain Miller asked. The flight attendant pointed down the aisle. Row 12, seat A. Captain Miller walked forward. Jake and Luke walked with him. Officer Gomez walked behind them. Every passenger stared. Some people took out their phones. They walked past row 1, row 2, row 5, row 10, row 12. Karen sat in the window seat. She had a glass in her hand, champagne. She was smiling. Emma sat next to her. Tyler sat in the aisle seat. Karen saw them. Her smile disappeared. The glass shook in her hand. Her face turned completely white. Captain Miller stopped directly in front of row 12. He still held Jake's hand and Luke's hand. Every person on the plane was silent. Even the flight attendants stopped moving. Karen put her glass down on the tray table. Her hand was shaking so hard the champagne spilled. "What are you doing here?" Karen said. Her voice was high and tight. "These boys belong on this flight," Captain Miller said. His voice was calm but hard. "You left them at the gate. You abandoned them." Karen stood up fast. She hit her head on the overhead bin. She did not seem to notice. "That is not true," Karen said. "They were supposed to wait for their father. It was a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding," Captain Miller repeated. He did not sound like he believed her. "You told them to sit on a bench. You told them their father would come get them. Then you boarded this plane without them. You did not tell anyone they were there. You did not alert airport staff. You just left." "I thought Michael had their tickets," Karen said. "I thought he was bringing them." "Then why did you not check?" Captain Miller asked. "Why did you not go back when they did not board?" Karen's mouth opened. No words came out. Emma started crying in her seat. "Mom, what is happening?" Karen looked at her daughter. "Nothing, sweetie. This man is confused." "I am not confused," Captain Miller said. Officer Gomez reviewed the security footage. We saw everything. You led all 4 children through security. You brought them to Gate 42. You told Jake and Luke to sit down. Then you boarded with only Emma and Tyler. A woman in row 11 gasped. A man across the aisle shook his head. More people took out their phones. They were recording now. You do not understand, Karen said. I made a mistake. That is all. Just a mistake. Officer Gomez stepped forward. Mrs. Martinez, what you did is called child endangerment. It is a crime in the state of California. Crime? Karen's voice got louder. I did not commit a crime. Those boys are fine. Look at them. They are fine. They are 7 years old, Officer Gomez said. You left them alone in an airport. Anything could have happened to them. But nothing did happen, Karen said. This is ridiculous. Captain Miller looked at all the passengers watching. He made a decision. He spoke loudly so everyone could hear. I need to tell you all something, Captain Miller said. These 2 boys are Jake and Luke Martinez. Their mother was Sarah Chen. Some passengers looked confused. Others looked interested. A man in row 10 sat up straighter. Sarah Chen founded Pacific Star Airlines, Captain Miller continued. She built this company from nothing. She owned every plane in our fleet. She died 3 years ago from cancer. More gasps. The man in row 10 said, I read about her. She was a billionaire. Yes, Captain Miller said. Sarah was very successful. But she kept it secret. She wanted her sons to have a normal childhood. She lived in a small apartment. She drove an old car. She never told people outside the company about her wealth. Karen's face went from white to red. Her breathing got faster. When Sarah died, she left everything to Jake and Luke, Captain Miller said. They will inherit Pacific Star Airlines when they turn 18. Until then, her brother manages the company for them. The inheritance is worth $400 million. The entire plane erupted in noise. People talking, people gasping. Someone said, "Oh my God!" "That is a lie," Karen shouted. "He is lying. Sarah Chen was a flight attendant. She was nobody." "I worked for Sarah for 28 years, Captain Miller said. "She hired me when this airline had 3 planes. I watched her build this company. I was her friend. When she got sick, she asked me to watch over her sons. She made me promise. I gave her my word." Jake looked up at Captain Miller. Tears ran down his face. Luke was crying too. "Our mom owned an airline?" Jake asked. "Yes," Captain Miller said gently. "She did. She was brilliant and brave, and she loved you more than anything in the world." "Why did she not tell us?" Luke asked. "She wanted to tell you when you were older," Captain Miller said. "She did not want you to grow up differently than other kids. She wanted you to be normal and happy." "She knew," a man's voice said from the front of the plane. "Karen knew about the money." Everyone turned. Michael Martinez stood at the entrance to the plane. His face was red. His hair was messy. He was breathing hard like he had been running. "Dad," Jake said. Michael pushed past passengers in the front rows. He ran down the aisle. He dropped to his knees in front of Jake and Luke. He grabbed them both. He pulled them into a hug. "I am so sorry," Michael said. His voice was breaking. "I am so sorry." "Mr. Martinez," Officer Gomez said, "did you know your wife planned to leave your sons at the gate?" Michael let go of the boys. He stood up. He looked at Karen. "No, I had no idea. She told me she would take them to the gate. I was checking our bags." "I did take them to the gate," Karen said. "I did exactly what you asked." "You left them there," Michael said. "You got on this plane without them." "It was a mistake," Karen said. "No," Michael said. His voice got loud. "It was not a mistake. You knew. You knew about Sarah's company. You knew about the inheritance." "I did not," Karen said. "Stop lying," Michael said. "How long have you known? How long have you been planning this?" Karen sat down hard in her seat. She crossed her arms. She did not answer. Michael looked at Captain Miller. "Is it true? Sarah owned this airline?" "Yes," Captain Miller said. "She never told you?" "She said she worked in aviation management," Michael said. "I thought she was middle management. I never knew she owned the company." "She wanted privacy," Captain Miller said. "She kept her business life separate from her personal life." Michael put his hands over his face. "I married a monster. I brought her into our home. I let her near my sons." "You did not know," Captain Miller said. "I should have known," Michael said. "I should have seen what she was doing to them." Tyler started crying now too. Emma put her arm around him. Both children looked scared and confused. "Officers are waiting at the gate," Officer Gomez said. She looked at Karen. "Mrs. Martinez, you need to come with me." "I am not going anywhere," Karen said. "You cannot make me. I did not do anything wrong." "You abandoned 2 children," Officer Gomez said. "You need to come with me now." "No," Karen said. She gripped the armrests of her seat. Officer Gomez spoke into her radio. "I need backup on the aircraft. Passenger is refusing to comply." 2 more security officers came onto the plane. They were both men. One was tall and bald. The other was shorter with a thick mustache. "Ma'am, please stand up," the tall officer said. "No," Karen said. "This is insane. I am the victim here. That captain is lying. He is trying to ruin my life." "Stand up now," the officer said. His voice was firm. Karen did not move. The 2 officers reached down. They took her arms. They pulled her up out of her seat. Karen started screaming. "Get your hands off me! This is assault! I am calling my lawyer! You cannot do this!" Emma and Tyler were both crying hard now. Emma tried to reach for her mother. Tyler hid his face in his hands. The officers pulled Karen into the aisle. She tried to pull away, but they held her tight. They walked her toward the front of the plane. She screamed the whole way. "I deserve that money. I took care of those brats. I fed them. I gave them a home. That money should be mine." Every passenger heard her. Phones were still recording. The woman in row 11 looked disgusted. The man in row 10 said, "Unbelievable." Karen disappeared through the plane door. Her screaming got quieter. Then it stopped. The plane was silent again. Then someone started clapping. It was the man in row 10. Then the woman in row 11 joined. Then more people. Soon the entire plane was clapping. Captain Miller knelt down in front of Jake and Luke. "You are safe now. Do you understand? You are safe." Jake nodded. He could not speak. His throat was too tight. Michael picked up Luke. Luke wrapped his arms around his father's neck. Michael put his other arm around Jake. "I am never letting you go again," Michael said. "Never." Officer Gomez touched Captain Miller's shoulder. "We need to take the family to the executive office. There is paperwork. And we need to call Child Protective Services." "I will come with them," Captain Miller said. "Thank you," Michael said to the captain. "Thank you for saving my sons." Captain Miller looked at Jake and Luke. He saw Sarah in their faces. He saw her eyes, her smile, her strength. He kept his promise. They walked off the plane together. Michael carried Luke. Jake held Captain Miller's hand. Officer Gomez led them through the terminal. Emma and Tyler walked behind with another security officer. Both children were still crying quietly. The other passengers got off the plane after them. Some people stopped to say things. "God bless you, boys," an older woman said. "Your mother would be proud," a man in a business suit said. Jake did not know how to respond. He just nodded. They walked past gate 42. Jake saw the bench where he and Luke had sat alone. It felt like hours ago, but it had only been 30 minutes. Officer Gomez took them down a different hallway. This hallway had fewer people. They reached a door marked Airport Executive Offices, Authorized Personnel Only. Officer Gomez used a key card. The door opened. Inside was a quiet office. There were desks and computers. Windows looked out at the runways. Planes took off and landed. "Sit here," Officer Gomez said. She pointed to a conference room. There was a long table with chairs. "I need to make some calls." Michael sat down. He still held Luke. Jake sat next to them. Captain Miller sat across from them. Emma and Tyler sat at the far end of the table. They looked scared. "Where is Mom?" Tyler asked. His voice was small. "Your mother is with security," Officer Gomez said. "Someone will talk to you about that soon." Tyler started crying again. Emma put her head down on the table. Officer Gomez left the room. She closed the door. Through the window, Jake saw her talking on a phone. "Dad," Jake said. "Is it true? Did Mom really own an airline?" Michael rubbed his face with both hands. "I do not know. I mean, Captain Miller says it is true, but I never knew. Your mother never told me." Captain Miller spoke. "Sarah kept her business life very private. She did not want attention. She did not want people to treat her differently. But she was married to me," Michael said. "Why would she not tell me?" "I do not know," Captain Miller said. "Maybe she planned to tell you eventually. Maybe she wanted to wait until the boys were older. I cannot answer that." "Did you know her well?" Jake asked Captain Miller. "Yes," Captain Miller said. "I knew her for many years. She hired me when I was 30 years old. I was one of her first pilots." "What was she like?" Luke asked. He lifted his head from Michael's shoulder. Captain Miller smiled. "She was strong, very smart. She worked harder than anyone I ever met. She would stay at the office until midnight sometimes. But she always talked about you boys. She kept pictures of you on her desk. She loved you more than anything." "I do not remember her very well," Luke said quietly. "I was only 4 when she died." "I remember her," Jake said. "She used to make us pancakes on Sunday mornings. She always burned them a little. She said that was how you knew they were made with love." Captain Miller's eyes got wet. "That sounds like Sarah. She was not a good cook. But she tried." Michael stood up. He started pacing. "I cannot believe this. Karen knew. She had to have known. That is why she married me so fast. That is why she treated the boys so terribly. She wanted them gone." "Gone?" Luke asked. "What do you mean, gone?" Michael stopped pacing. He looked at his sons. "Nothing. I am just upset." "Mr. Martinez," Captain Miller said carefully, "I think your wife knew about the inheritance. I think she planned this." "Planned what?" Michael asked. "To abandon the boys. If they disappeared into the foster care system, she could eventually have them declared missing or dead. Then the inheritance would go to you, and she would have access to it through your marriage." Michael sat down hard. Oh my God! She was going to kill them. Not physically, but legally. She was going to erase them. "Dad, you are scaring me," Jake said. "I am sorry," Michael said. He took Jake's hand. "You are safe now, I promise. I will never let anyone hurt you again." The door opened. Officer Gomez came back in. Behind her was another woman. She wore a gray suit and carried a briefcase. She had dark skin and short black hair. "This is Susan Morris," Officer Gomez said. "She is a victim advocate. She works with children in situations like this." "Hello," Susan said. She had a kind voice. She sat down at the table. "I am here to help you, all of you. This has been a very scary day." Emma looked up. "Is our mom going to jail?" Susan looked at Officer Gomez. Officer Gomez nodded. "Your mother is in serious trouble," Susan said gently. "What she did was against the law. But that is not your fault. Do you understand? You did nothing wrong." "I want to go home," Tyler said. "We will figure that out," Susan said. "Right now I need to ask you some questions. Is that okay?" Tyler nodded. Emma nodded. Susan spent 10 minutes talking to Emma and Tyler. She asked them about their home life. She asked about Karen. She asked about how Karen treated Jake and Luke. Emma told the truth. She said Karen was mean to the twins. She said Karen gave them old clothes and small portions of food. Tyler said he heard Karen yelling at Jake and Luke when Michael was at work. Susan wrote everything down, then she made a phone call. She spoke quietly into the phone. Jake could not hear what she said. Captain Miller stood up. "I need to make a call too. Jake and Luke's uncle should be here. "Uncle?" Jake asked. "Your mother's brother," Captain Miller said. "His name is James Chen. He runs Pacific Star Airlines now. He has been managing it since your mother died." "We have an uncle?" Luke asked. "Yes," Captain Miller said. "He lives in San Francisco. I am going to call him right now." Captain Miller left the conference room. Through the window, Jake saw him talking on his phone. He was talking fast. His hands moved while he spoke. Michael pulled Jake and Luke close. "I am so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have seen what Karen was doing." "It is okay, Dad," Jake said. "No, it is not okay," Michael said. "I failed you. I failed your mother. She trusted me to take care of you." "You did not know," Luke said. "I should have known," Michael said. "A good father would have known." They sat in silence. Outside the window, planes continued taking off and landing. People walked through the terminal with suitcases. Life continued normally, but nothing felt normal. Captain Miller came back into the room. "James is on his way. He is getting on the next flight from San Francisco. He will be here in 2 hours." "2 hours?" Michael said. "What do we do until then?" "We wait," Captain Miller said, "and I will tell the boys about their mother." For the next hour, Captain Miller told stories. He told them about the day Sarah started the airline. She bought a small plane with a bank loan. She flew the first route herself from San Diego to San Francisco. Only 12 people were on that flight. He told them about how Sarah grew the company. She worked 18-hour days. She negotiated with airplane manufacturers. She hired the best pilots and flight attendants. She cared about safety more than anything. He told them about the day Sarah found out she was pregnant with twins. She called Captain Miller into her office. She was scared and excited at the same time. She asked him if he thought she could be a good mother and still run a company. Captain Miller told her she could do anything. Jake and Luke listened to every word. They learned about a version of their mother they never knew existed. Officer Gomez came back into the room. "Mr. Martinez, I need to speak with you privately." Michael stood up. He followed Officer Gomez out of the room. They talked in the hallway. Jake watched through the window. His father's face got very serious, then very angry, then sad. Michael came back in. He sat down next to the boys. "What is wrong?" Jake asked. Michael took a deep breath. "The police searched Karen's computer. They found her internet history. She searched for information about your mother before we ever met. She looked up Pacific Star Airlines. She looked up your mother's net worth. She knew everything before our first date." "So she married you on purpose?" Jake asked. "Because of the money?" Michael nodded. "Yes, she planned everything from the beginning." Luke started crying again. "Why does everyone want to hurt us?" "Not everyone," Captain Miller said. "Your mother loved you. Your father loves you. Your uncle loves you. I am here because I promised your mother I would protect you. There are good people in the world." The door opened again. A man walked in. He was tall, with black hair and glasses. He wore an expensive suit. He looked at Jake and Luke. His face crumpled. Tears ran down his cheeks. "You look just like her," the man said. "You look exactly like Sarah." "Uncle James?" Jake asked. James Chen crossed the room in 3 steps. He dropped to his knees. He pulled both boys into a tight hug. "I am here," James said. "I am here now, and I am never letting anything happen to you again." James held the boys for a long moment. When he finally let go, his face was wet with tears. He took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. "I am sorry," James said. "I promised myself I would not cry. But you two look so much like your mother." "You knew our mom?" Luke asked. "She was my sister," James said. "My big sister. She was 8 years older than me. She took care of me our whole lives." Jake studied James's face. He did have the same eyes as their mother, the same dark brown eyes. Jake had those eyes too. "Captain Miller said you run the airline now," Jake said. "Yes," James said. "Your mother asked me to manage Pacific Star until you boys are old enough. I have been doing that for 3 years. Michael stood up. He walked over to James. I am Michael Martinez, Sarah's husband. James shook Michael's hand. I know who you are. We met twice, at the wedding and at Sarah's funeral. I do not remember much from the funeral, Michael said quietly. No one does, James said. It was a terrible day. Officer Gomez stepped forward. Mr. Chen, we need to discuss the situation with Mrs. Martinez. Karen, James said. The name sounded hard in his mouth. Captain Miller told me what she did. Is she in custody? Yes, Officer Gomez said. She is being processed right now. She will be charged with child endangerment and possibly fraud. Good, James said. I want to press charges on behalf of Pacific Star Airlines as well. She tried to steal from this company. She tried to steal from my nephews. We can discuss that with the district attorney, Officer Gomez said. Captain Miller pulled out his phone. James, you should see these. He showed James his phone screen. Passengers on the plane recorded the whole thing. Karen screaming, her saying she deserved the money. James watched the video. His face got hard. Send that to me. I want our lawyers to have it. Susan Morris spoke up. Mr. Chen, we need to make arrangements for Emma and Tyler. They cannot stay with their mother. Who are Emma and Tyler? James asked. Karen's children from her first marriage, Michael said. They are my stepchildren. Emma and Tyler were still sitting at the end of the table. They had been quiet this whole time. Emma's face was red from crying. Tyler was staring at the table. Do they have other family? James asked. Karen's parents live in Nevada, Michael said. Her father called earlier. He wants to take them. That is probably best, Susan said. I will make the arrangements. James turned his attention back to Jake and Luke. He sat down at the table. He pulled out his phone. I want to show you something. He scrolled through his photos. He turned the phone so the boys could see. The screen showed a picture of a woman standing in front of an airplane. She wore a dark blue suit. Her black hair was pulled back. She was smiling. That is Mom, Jake said. His voice was full of wonder. Yes, James said. That was taken 10 years ago. That is the day Pacific Star bought its 20th plane. It was a huge moment for the company. He scrolled to another picture. Sarah stood in an office. Papers covered the desk behind her. She looked tired but happy. This was her office, James said. She worked there almost every day. Where is her office? Luke asked. In San Francisco, James said. At Pacific Star headquarters. Everything is still there. I have not changed anything. I kept it exactly how she left it. Can we see it? Jake asked. Yes, James said. Anytime you want. It belongs to you. What do you mean it belongs to us? Jake asked. James put his phone down. He looked at both boys. Then he looked at Michael. Did anyone explain the inheritance to them? Captain Miller said something on the plane, Michael said, but I do not think they understand. James took a deep breath. Okay, I am going to explain everything, and I am going to tell you the truth. No more secrets. You deserve to know. Jake and Luke nodded. Your mother started Pacific Star Airlines when she was 25 years old, James said. She took out a bank loan. She bought one small airplane. She flew routes up and down California, San Diego to San Francisco, Los Angeles to Sacramento. It was just her and 2 employees. She was a pilot? Luke asked. She had a pilot's license, yes, James said. But mostly she was a businesswoman. She was brilliant with money. She knew how to grow a company. Within 5 years, she had 10 planes. Within 10 years, she had 50 planes. She bought bigger aircraft. She started flying to Hawaii, Mexico, and Canada. Why did she never tell us? Jake asked. She wanted you to have a normal childhood, James said. She did not want you growing up with everyone knowing you were rich. She did not want people treating you differently. She lived in a small apartment. She drove an old Honda. She dressed in normal clothes at home. The only time she wore business suits was at work. But Dad did not know either, Jake said. Why did she not tell Dad? James looked at Michael. I do not know the answer to that. Maybe she planned to tell him eventually. Maybe she was afraid he would treat her differently. Sarah was very private about her success. Michael sat down heavily. I feel like I never really knew my wife. You knew the part of her that mattered most, James said. You knew her as a mother and a wife. That was the real Sarah. The business side was just what she did. It was not who she was. What happens to the company now? Michael asked. It belongs to Jake and Luke, James said. Sarah's will was very clear. When the boys turn 18, they inherit everything. Pacific Star Airlines, all bank accounts, all investments. The total value is approximately $400 million. The number hung in the air. $400 million. Jake could not even imagine that much money. Until they turn 18, I manage everything for them, James continued. I make business decisions. I run the company. But I do not own anything. I am just the caretaker. I get a salary for my work, but everything else belongs to the boys. Can Karen take any of it? Michael asked. No, James said firmly. Sarah set up the inheritance in a special trust. Only Jake and Luke can access it when they turn 18. No one else has any legal claim. Not you, Michael. Not Karen. No one. Thank God, Michael said. Officer Gomez spoke up again. Mr. Chen, we found evidence that Karen researched your sister before she met Mr. Martinez. She knew about Pacific Star Airlines. She knew about the estimated value of the company. So she married me for the money, Michael said. She planned this from day one. It appears that way, Officer Gomez said. We found search history going back 18 months. She searched for wealthy widowers in San Diego. She searched for ways to access inheritance money. She even searched for child abandonment laws. She researched if she could get away with it, Captain Miller said. His voice was disgusted. She will not get away with it, James said. I am hiring the best lawyers in California. She will go to prison for this. Emma started crying loudly at the end of the table. Our mom is going to prison? Susan Morris went to sit next to her. Your mother made very bad choices. She hurt people. When adults hurt children, there are consequences. But we need her, Tyler said. You need a safe home with people who love you, Susan said. Your grandparents love you. They will take good care of you. When do we leave? Emma asked. Tomorrow, Susan said. Your grandfather is driving here from Nevada tonight. He will pick you up in the morning. Emma looked at Jake and Luke. I am sorry. I did not know what she was planning. I promise I did not know. Jake looked at his stepsister. She looked small and scared. I know. It is not your fault. Tyler would not look at anyone. He kept his eyes on the table. James pulled out his phone again. He scrolled to a different photo. I want to show you one more picture. He turned the phone toward Jake and Luke. The picture showed Sarah sitting in a hospital bed. She was thin and pale, but she was smiling. She held 2 babies, one in each arm. The babies were tiny and wrapped in blue blankets. That is you two, James said. That was the day you were born, March 15th. Your mother was so happy. She said it was the best day of her entire life. Luke touched the phone screen. His finger traced Sarah's face. She loved you more than the airline, James said. More than the money. More than anything. Everything she built was for you. So you would have choices in life. So you would never have to worry about money. So you could be anything you wanted to be. I wish she was here, Jake said. Me too, James said. Every single day I wish she was here, but she is not. So I am here instead. And I promise you, I will protect what she built. I will make sure you get everything she wanted you to have. Captain Miller stood up. I made Sarah the same promise. We are all here for you boys. You are not alone. Michael pulled Jake and Luke close to him. And I promise I will be a better father. I will pay attention. I will protect you. No one will ever hurt you again. Jake leaned against his father. For the first time all day, he felt safe. They stayed in the airport executive office for another hour. James made phone calls to lawyers. Officer Gomez talked to other security staff. Captain Miller ordered food for everyone from a restaurant in the terminal, sandwiches and fruit and bottles of water. Jake and Luke ate everything. They had not realized how hungry they were. Emma and Tyler ate quietly at the end of the table. They did not talk to anyone. Susan Morris sat with them. She spoke to them in a soft voice about their grandparents in Nevada. "Can we bring our things?" Emma asked. "Yes," Susan said. "Your grandfather will help you pack tomorrow." "What about our rooms?" Tyler asked. "Our toys?" "You can bring whatever fits in the car," Susan said. Officer Gomez came over to Michael. "Mr. Martinez, Karen is being transferred to the Los Angeles County Jail. She will be arraigned tomorrow morning. Do you want to be there?" "No," Michael said. "I never want to see her again." "Understood," Officer Gomez said. "But you should know, her father posted bail. She might be released tomorrow." Michael's face went white. "She can get out?" "Possibly," Officer Gomez said, "but she will have restrictions. Ankle monitor. No contact with you or the children. She cannot leave California." "That is not enough," James said. He had been listening. "She tried to abandon 2 children. She should stay in jail." "The judge will decide," Officer Gomez said. "I am just telling you what might happen." James pulled out his phone again. "I am calling our lawyers right now. We are going to fight this." He walked to the corner of the room. Jake watched his uncle make the call. James spoke fast and firm. He used words Jake did not understand. Legal words, business words. Captain Miller sat down next to the boys. "How are you two doing?" "Tired," Jake said. "Scared," Luke added. "That is normal," Captain Miller said. "Today was terrifying, but it is over now. You are safe." "What happens next?" Jake asked. "Your father will take you home," Captain Miller said. "Your uncle will make sure Karen faces consequences for what she did. And I will visit you soon. I want to tell you more stories about your mother." "I would like that," Jake said. Luke leaned against Captain Miller. "Thank you for finding us." Captain Miller put his arm around Luke. "I promised your mother I would watch over you. I keep my promises." James came back to the table. "I just spoke with Michelle Patterson. She is the best criminal attorney in Los Angeles. She is taking this case personally. She has 2 sons of her own. She was horrified when I told her what happened." "When can we talk to her?" Michael asked. "Tomorrow," James said. "She wants to interview everyone. You, the boys, Emma and Tyler. She wants to build a strong case." "The boys do not need to go through that," Michael said. "They have been through enough today." "I know," James said, "but their testimony is important. They can tell the court how Karen treated them. It shows a pattern of abuse and neglect." Jake spoke up. "I will talk to her. I want to make sure Karen goes to prison." Everyone turned to look at him. "Jake, you do not have to do that," Michael said. "Yes, I do," Jake said. "She tried to throw us away. She needs to be punished." James nodded slowly. "You are brave, just like your mother." They left the airport at 8 o'clock that night. James had booked hotel rooms for everyone. 2 rooms at a hotel near the airport. 1 room for Michael, Jake, and Luke. 1 room for Emma and Tyler with Susan Morris. The hotel was nice, much nicer than anywhere Jake had stayed before. The room had 2 big beds, a television, a bathroom with clean white towels. Michael helped the boys shower. He found clean clothes in his suitcase. The clothes were meant for Hawaii, but they would work for tonight. Jake put on shorts and a t-shirt that were too big. Luke wore the same. They got into 1 bed together, all 3 of them. Michael in the middle, Jake on one side, Luke on the other. "Dad," Luke said quietly, "are we really rich?" Michael was quiet for a moment. "Yes, your mother left you a lot of money, but that does not change who you are. You are still my sons. You are still the same boys." "Everything feels different now," Jake said. "I know," Michael said, "but we will get through this together, as a family." They fell asleep like that, together in one bed, safe for the first time in months. The next morning, they went to Michelle Patterson's law office. The office was in downtown Los Angeles in a tall building. They took an elevator to the 14th floor. The office had glass walls and expensive furniture. Michelle Patterson met them in the lobby. She was a woman in her 50s with red hair pulled back in a bun. She wore a black suit. She shook Michael's hand first. "Mr. Martinez, I am so sorry for what you and your sons have been through." "Thank you," Michael said. Michelle knelt down to look at Jake and Luke. "Hello, boys. My name is Michelle. I am a lawyer. Do you know what a lawyer does?" "They help people in court," Jake said. "That is right," Michelle said. "And I am going to help you. I am going to make sure the person who hurt you faces consequences. But I need your help. I need you to tell me the truth about what happened. Can you do that?" Jake nodded. Luke nodded. Michelle interviewed Jake first. She took him into a private office, just the two of them. She had a recording device on the desk. "I am going to record our conversation," Michelle said. "Is that okay?" "Yes," Jake said. "Tell me about living with Karen," Michelle said. "Start from the beginning." Jake told her everything. He told her about the small bedroom, the old clothes, the cold dinners. He told her about Karen yelling at them. He told her about Karen throwing away his drawing of his mother. He told her about being hungry all the time. Michelle wrote notes while he talked. She did not interrupt. She let him say everything. When Jake finished, Michelle looked at him with sad eyes. "You are very brave for telling me all of that. I know it was not easy." "Will it help?" Jake asked. "Yes," Michelle said. "It will help a lot." She interviewed Luke next. Luke told similar stories. He cried while he talked. Michelle gave him tissues. She told him it was okay to cry. After the interviews, Michelle spoke with James and Michael in another room. Jake and Luke sat in the lobby with Susan Morris. She gave them coloring books and crayons. "Are you okay?" Susan asked. "I think so," Jake said. An hour later, everyone came out of the office. Michelle shook hands with James and Michael. "I have everything I need to start building the case," Michelle said. "Officer Gomez is sending me the security footage today. I also have the recordings from the plane. This is a strong case." "What happens now?" Michael asked. "Karen will be arraigned this afternoon," Michelle said. "The judge will decide about bail. I am going to argue that she should remain in custody. She is a flight risk and a danger to the children." "Will that work?" James asked. "I do not know," Michelle said honestly, "but I will try." That afternoon, they learned that Karen was released on bail. Her father paid $50,000. Karen had to wear an ankle monitor. She could not leave California. She could not contact Michael or any of the children. She could not come within 500 feet of them. Michael was furious. He called his own lawyer immediately, a man named David Park. David came to meet them at the hotel that evening. "I want a divorce," Michael told David. "Today, right now. We can file the papers tomorrow morning," David said. "But divorce takes time. It could be months before it is final." "I do not care," Michael said. "I want to start the process, and I want a restraining order. I do not want her anywhere near my sons." "I can file for that tomorrow too," David said. "Do it," Michael said. David also talked about custody. Emma and Tyler would need to go somewhere. Karen was out on bail, but she could not take care of them. She was facing criminal charges. "Child Protective Services is involved," David said. "They will place the children with family if possible." "Her parents," Michael said. "They live in Las Vegas." "That would work," David said. The next day was busy. Michael filed for divorce. He filed for a restraining order. David Park handled all the paperwork. James stayed in Los Angeles to meet with Michelle Patterson again. Jake and Luke stayed at the hotel with Susan Morris. She played games with them. She let them watch television. She ordered pizza for lunch. "When can we go home?" Luke asked. "Soon," Susan said. "Your father is handling some legal things. Then you can go back to San Diego. I miss our old house, Luke said. We do not live in our old house anymore, Jake said. We live in Karen's house now. Not for long, Susan said. Your father is going to find you a new place to live. That evening, Emma and Tyler's grandfather arrived. His name was Robert Brooks. He was a tall man with gray hair. He looked tired and sad. He met with Emma and Tyler in the hotel lobby. Susan Morris stayed with them. I am so sorry about your mother, Robert said. She made very bad choices. Are we going to live with you now? Emma asked. Yes, Robert said. Your grandmother and I want you with us. We have a house in Las Vegas. You will have your own rooms. You will go to a new school. I do not want to leave, Tyler said. I know, Robert said. But you cannot stay with your mother right now. This is the best option. Emma looked across the lobby. Jake and Luke were sitting on a couch. Emma stood up. She walked over to them. Susan Morris followed her. Jake, Emma said. Luke, I need to say something. Jake looked up at her. I am sorry, Emma said. Tears ran down her face. I am so sorry for everything. My mom was terrible to you. I saw it and I did not stop it. I should have told someone. I should have helped you. Jake stood up. He looked at Emma. She was 2 years older than him. But right now she looked small and broken. It was not your fault, Jake said. You were scared too. Emma hugged him. Luke joined the hug. Tyler watched from across the lobby. Robert Brooks came over. We are leaving tomorrow morning. I just wanted to say goodbye. Michael stood up. He shook Robert's hand. Take care of them. They are good kids. This is not their fault. I know, Robert said, and I am sorry. Sorry for what my daughter did. The next morning, Emma and Tyler left for Nevada. Jake and Luke waved goodbye from the hotel window. Then Michael, Jake, Luke, and James drove back to San Diego. They arrived in San Diego in the early afternoon. James drove them to Karen's house in Los Angeles first. Michael needed to pack their belongings. The house was empty. Karen was not allowed to be there. She was staying with her father at a motel somewhere. Michael opened the door with his key. The house felt cold and wrong. Jake did not want to go inside. I hate this place, Jake said. We are not staying, Michael said. We are just getting our things. Then we are leaving forever. They went to the small bedroom where Jake and Luke slept. Michael pulled out garbage bags. He started putting their clothes inside. There was not much. A few shirts, a few pairs of pants, old shoes. Is this everything? James asked. He was standing in the doorway. Karen did not buy them anything, Michael said. His voice was bitter. I did not notice. I should have noticed. We can buy new clothes, James said. That is easy to fix. Michael found a small box under the bed. Inside were drawings, Luke's drawings, pictures of their mother, pictures of airplanes, pictures of the beach. I want these, Luke said. Of course, Michael said. He put the box in one of the bags. They packed everything in 20 minutes. It all fit in 3 garbage bags, 3 bags for 2 children. That was all they had from 18 months of living here. They got back in the car. James drove them to San Diego. He drove to a part of town near the beach. He pulled up in front of a small house with blue paint. What is this? Michael asked. Your new home, James said. I rented it for you this morning. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 blocks from the beach. The lease is paid for 1 year. James, I cannot afford this, Michael said. You do not have to, James said. Pacific Star Airlines is paying for it. Sarah would want her sons to have a safe home. Michael stared at the house. I do not know what to say. Say thank you and go inside, James said. They got out of the car. James had the key. He opened the front door. The house was furnished. Couch, table, beds, everything they needed. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs, James said. The bigger one is for the boys. The smaller one is for you, Michael. Jake and Luke ran upstairs. They found the bigger bedroom. It had 2 beds, real beds with clean sheets. A window looked out at the street. The walls were painted light blue. This is ours? Luke asked. Yes, James said from the doorway. This is yours. Luke jumped onto one of the beds. He laughed. It was the first time Jake had heard his brother laugh in months. Michael stood in the middle of the room. He looked at his sons. His eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, James," he said. "Thank you for everything." "Sarah was my sister," James said. "These boys are my nephews. This is what family does." James stayed in San Diego for 3 days. He helped Michael buy clothes for the boys. They went to a department store. Jake and Luke each got 5 new shirts, 3 new pairs of pants, new shoes, and new jackets. Michael wanted to pay, but James insisted. "Use your money for food and bills," James said. "Let me handle this." They bought sheets and towels. They bought food for the kitchen. They bought school supplies because Jake and Luke would need to enroll in a new school. On the 3rd day, James had to go back to San Francisco. He had a company to run. Before he left, he gave Michael a check. "What is this?" Michael asked. "Money for expenses," James said. "The boys need things. Do not be proud. Take it." Michael looked at the check. It was for $10,000. "I cannot take this," Michael said. "Yes, you can," James said. "And you will. Sarah would want me to help you. She would want her sons taken care of." James knelt down to say goodbye to Jake and Luke. "I will visit again soon, and I want you both to come to San Francisco. I want to show you your mother's office." "Can we really go?" Jake asked. "Whenever you want," James said. "Just tell your father and I will arrange it." After James left, Michael focused on his sons. He took time off from work. His boss was understanding. Michael needed to be home with the boys. Every morning, Michael made breakfast. Pancakes, eggs, toast. Real breakfast. The boys ate until they were full. Every afternoon, they went to the beach. Jake and Luke had never spent much time at the beach. Karen never took them. They played in the sand. They ran from the waves. Luke found shells. Jake built a sand castle. Every evening, Michael cooked dinner, spaghetti, chicken, rice, and vegetables. They ate together at the table. All 3 of them. Michael asked about their day. He listened to their answers. "Dad," Luke said one night, "you are different now." "Different how?" Michael asked. "You are here," Luke said. "You pay attention." Michael put down his fork. "I should have been paying attention all along. I am sorry I was not." "You are now," Jake said. "That is what matters." But the peace at home did not mean everything was easy. Jake had nightmares. He woke up screaming that Karen was coming back. Michael would run into their room and hold him until he calmed down. Luke stopped talking sometimes. He would go quiet for hours. He would just draw pictures. Michael learned not to push him. He would sit next to Luke and wait. Eventually, Luke would start talking again. Michael knew they needed help. He found a therapist who worked with children. Her name was Dr. Helen Kim. Her office was in downtown San Diego. They went to see her on a Tuesday morning. The office had toys and books, comfortable chairs, windows with lots of light. Dr. Kim was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes. She wore casual clothes, jeans, and a sweater. "Hello, Jake and Luke," she said. "I am Dr. Kim. You can call me Helen if you want." "Okay," Jake said. "Your father told me you have been through something very difficult. I want to help you feel better, but I need you to talk to me. Can you do that?" Jake nodded. Luke looked at his shoes. "Luke," Dr. Kim said gently, "you do not have to talk right now. You can just listen. That is okay too." They met with Dr. Kim twice a week. Slowly, the boys started to open up. Jake talked about feeling angry. He was angry at Karen. He was angry at his father for not seeing what was happening. He was even angry at his mother for dying. "It is okay to be angry," Dr. Kim said. "Anger is normal, but we need to find healthy ways to express it." Luke talked about feeling scared all the time. He was scared Karen would come back. He was scared something bad would happen to his father. He was scared he would forget what his mother looked like. "That is called anxiety," Dr. Kim said. "A lot of children feel anxious after trauma. We can work on that together." Dr. Kim taught them breathing exercises. She taught them how to recognize when they were getting upset. She taught them words to describe their feelings. After 6 weeks of therapy, both boys were sleeping better. The nightmares came less often. Luke talked more. Jake smiled sometimes. One Saturday, Captain Miller came to visit. He drove down from Los Angeles. He took Jake, Luke, and Michael out for lunch. They went to a seafood restaurant near the beach. "How are you boys doing?" Captain Miller asked. "Better," Jake said. "We see a therapist now." "That is good," Captain Miller said. "Therapy helps. I went to therapy after I left the Air Force. It helped me a lot." "You were in the Air Force?" Luke asked. "For 8 years," Captain Miller said. "I was a military pilot. That is how I learned to fly." "Will you teach us to fly?" Jake asked. Captain Miller smiled. "Maybe when you are older. For now, I can teach you about airplanes. Would you like that?" "Yes," both boys said together. Captain Miller spent the afternoon telling them about different types of planes. He drew pictures on napkins. He explained how engines worked, how wings created lift, how pilots navigated. Jake listened to every word. "I think I want to be a pilot," he said. "You can be anything you want," Captain Miller said. "Your mother made sure of that." 2 weeks later, Captain Miller came back. This time he brought a surprise. He was taking them to San Francisco, all 3 of them. James had arranged everything. They flew on Pacific Star Airlines. Captain Miller was their pilot. They sat in first class. The seats were big and comfortable. Flight attendants brought them drinks and cookies. Luke looked out the window as the plane took off. "Mom flew planes like this?" "She owned planes like this," Captain Miller said from the cockpit doorway. Every Pacific Star plane belonged to her. They landed in San Francisco an hour later. James met them at the airport. He drove them to Pacific Star headquarters. The building was tall and modern, glass and steel. The lobby had a huge picture of an airplane on the wall. "This is where Mom worked?" Jake asked. "Every day," James said. He took them upstairs to the executive floor. They walked down a hallway with offices on both sides. At the end of the hall was a closed door. A sign said, "Sarah Chen, founder and CEO." James opened the door. The office was exactly how Sarah had left it. Desk with a computer, bookshelf full of aviation books, windows overlooking the city, and pictures. Pictures everywhere. Pictures of Jake and Luke as babies, as toddlers, at birthday parties, at the beach. Jake walked to the desk. He touched the surface carefully. His mother had sat here. She had worked here. She had built an airline here. On the desk calendar, Sarah had written appointments. The last entry was from 3 years ago, the day before she went into the hospital for the last time. Luke found a photo frame. It showed Sarah holding both boys on their first birthday. They were covered in cake. Everyone was smiling. "Can I keep this?" Luke asked. "Yes," James said. His voice was thick with emotion. "You can keep anything you want from this office. It all belongs to you." Jake sat in his mother's chair. He could almost feel her presence. She had sat here. She had made decisions here. She had built something incredible here. "She did all this for us?" Jake asked. "Yes," James said. "Every single bit of it. She worked 18-hour days so you boys would have a future, so you would have choices." They stayed in the office for an hour. James told them stories about Sarah, about her first deal with Boeing to buy planes, about her negotiating with airports for landing rights, about her refusing to give up when people said she would fail. When they flew back to San Diego that evening, Jake felt different. He felt connected to his mother in a way he never had before. She was not just the woman who died. She was a woman who built an empire, and she did it for him and Luke. 3 days later, a letter arrived at their house. It was addressed to Jake and Luke Martinez. The return address was Las Vegas, Nevada. Michael opened it. Inside was a letter written in careful handwriting. "It is from Emma," Michael said. Jake took the letter. He read it out loud. "Dear Jake and Luke, I am sorry for everything. I am sorry my mom hurt you. I am sorry I did not help you. I think about you every day. I hope you are okay. I hope you can forgive me someday. Love, Emma. Luke looked at Jake. Are you still mad at her? Jake thought about it. No, she did not do anything wrong. Her mom did. Should we write back? Luke asked. Jake nodded. Yes, we should. Oh, that night, Jake wrote a letter. Michael helped him with some of the words. Dear Emma, I forgive you. You did not do anything wrong. Your mother made bad choices. That is not your fault. We are okay now. We have a new house. We are going to therapy. Maybe you can visit someday. Your friend, Jake. Michael mailed the letter the next morning. A week later, Emma wrote back. She said thank you. She said she was in therapy too. She said maybe they could be friends again. The trial date was set. Karen would go to court in 3 months. Michelle Patterson called with the news. I have been building the case, Michelle said. We have the security footage. We have passenger testimony. We have your computer evidence. And I have one more piece of evidence that just came through. What is it? Michael asked. Karen's internet history from before she met you. She searched for Sarah Chen's net worth. She searched for Pacific Star Airlines value. She searched for how to access inheritance money. She even searched for child abandonment laws in California. All of this before your first date. So she planned everything, Michael said. Yes, Michelle said, and I can prove it in court. That night, Jake told his father something. Dad, I want to testify at the trial. Michael looked at his son. Jake, you do not have to do that. It will be hard. I know, Jake said, but I want to. I want to tell everyone what she did. I want to make sure she goes to prison. Michael looked at his 7-year-old son. Jake's face was serious and determined. Okay, Michael said, if you are sure. I am sure, Jake said. Mom built something amazing for us. Karen tried to steal it. She tried to throw us away. I am not going to let her get away with that. Michelle Patterson met with Jake 3 times before the trial. She needed to prepare him. Testifying in court was difficult even for adults. For a 7-year-old child, it would be frightening. They met in her office. Michelle sat across from Jake at a small table. Michael sat nearby but stayed quiet. Jake, do you know what a courtroom looks like? Michelle asked. I have seen them on television, Jake said. Real courtrooms are different, Michelle said. There will be a judge sitting at a tall desk. There will be 12 people called the jury. They will decide if Karen is guilty. And there will be lawyers. Me and another lawyer who works for Karen. Will Karen be there? Jake asked. Yes, Michelle said. She will be sitting at a table with her lawyer. You do not have to look at her. You can look at me instead. Okay, Jake said. The other lawyer will ask you questions, Michelle said. He will try to make you confused. He might say things that are not true, but you just need to tell the truth. Can you do that? Yes, Jake said. Michelle practiced with him. She asked him questions about living with Karen, about the airport, about feeling scared. Jake answered each question carefully. You are doing great, Michelle said. Just remember, tell the truth and look at me if you get scared. The trial began on a Monday morning in October. The courthouse was in downtown Los Angeles. It was a big building with marble floors and high ceilings. Michael drove Jake and Luke to Los Angeles the night before. They stayed at a hotel. James met them there. Captain Miller came too. I am testifying tomorrow, Captain Miller said. I want to tell the jury what I saw. That night Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about seeing Karen. He had not seen her since the airport. That was 6 months ago. What if I forget what to say? Jake asked his father. Just tell the truth, Michael said. That is all you have to do. The courtroom was on the 5th floor. They arrived at 9 o'clock in the morning. The hallway was full of people, reporters with cameras, people waiting for other trials. Michelle met them outside the courtroom. She wore a black suit. She carried a briefcase. Are you ready? She asked Jake. Jake nodded. He was not sure if he was ready, but he had to do this. They went inside. The courtroom was bigger than Jake expected. Rows of benches for people to sit, a tall desk for the judge, a box with 12 chairs for the jury, and 2 tables, one for Michelle, one for Karen and her lawyer. Karen was already there. She sat at the table on the right. She wore a plain blue dress, no makeup. Her hair was pulled back. She looked different, smaller, older. Jake stared at her. She did not look at him. Karen's lawyer was a man named Robert Caldwell. He was tall with gray hair. He wore an expensive suit. He smiled at the jury when they walked in. The jury was 12 people, 7 women and 5 men, different ages, different races. They all looked serious. The judge entered last. Everyone stood up. The judge was a woman named Patricia Reynolds. She had gray hair and glasses. She wore black robes. "Please be seated," Judge Reynolds said. "We are here for the case of the people versus Karen Brooks Martinez. Charges include child endangerment and attempted fraud." Michelle stood up. "The prosecution is ready, Your Honor." Robert Caldwell stood up. "The defense is ready, Your Honor." "Proceed," Judge Reynolds said. Michelle called her first witness. Officer Patricia Gomez walked to the witness stand. She put her hand on a Bible and swore to tell the truth. Michelle asked her questions. Officer Gomez described getting the call from the gate agent. She described finding Jake and Luke alone and crying. She described reviewing the security footage. "What did the security footage show?" Michelle asked. "It showed Mrs. Martinez leading all 4 children through security," Officer Gomez said. "Then she took only 2 children onto the plane. She left Jake and Luke Martinez sitting on a bench. She did not alert anyone. She just boarded and left them." Some jury members wrote notes. Others just listened. Robert Caldwell cross-examined Officer Gomez. "Is it possible Mrs. Martinez simply forgot the boys?" "No," Officer Gomez said firmly. "The footage shows her looking directly at them before she boarded. She knew exactly where they were." "No further questions," Robert Caldwell said. Next, Michelle called Captain Miller. He walked to the witness stand in his pilot uniform. He looked confident and calm. Michelle asked him about his relationship with Sarah Chen. Captain Miller explained that he worked for Sarah for 28 years. He called her a brilliant businesswoman and a devoted mother. "Did Sarah ask you to do anything before she died?" Michelle asked. "Yes," Captain Miller said. "She asked me to watch over her sons. She made me promise that if they ever needed help, I would be there." "And what did you see at Gate 42 on that day?" "I saw 2 small boys crying," Captain Miller said. "They were alone. Nobody was helping them. When I asked their names, I realized they were Sarah's sons. I knew something was very wrong." Michelle showed the jury Captain Miller's phone, the video passengers recorded on the plane, the video of Karen screaming, the video of her saying she deserved the money. The jury watched the video. Several people shook their heads. Robert Caldwell tried to discredit Captain Miller. "You were close to Sarah Chen. Perhaps your judgment is clouded by emotion." "My judgment is based on facts," Captain Miller said calmly. "Those boys were abandoned. I saw it with my own eyes." Michelle called David Brooks next, Karen's ex-husband. David testified that Karen married him for his inheritance money. When the money ran out, she divorced him. "Did Karen ever say anything about money?" Michelle asked. "She said poor people deserve to be poor," David said. "She said money was the only thing that mattered." Karen shifted in her seat. Her lawyer whispered something to her. Then Michelle showed the jury Karen's computer records, her internet searches, Sarah Chen net worth, Pacific Star Airlines value, how to access inheritance money, child abandonment laws, California. "These searches were made 18 months ago," Michelle told the jury, "before Karen ever met Michael Martinez. She researched his dead wife. She researched the inheritance. She researched if she could legally abandon children. This was premeditated." The jury looked at Karen. She stared at the table. Michelle called Michael next. Michael walked to the witness stand. His hands shook. Michelle asked him about his marriage to Karen. Michael admitted he did not see how she treated his sons. He said he was grieving and made terrible decisions. "Mr. Martinez, did you know your wife Sarah owned Pacific Star Airlines?" Michelle asked. "No," Michael said. "She never told me. I thought she worked in middle management." "Why do you think she kept it secret?" "She wanted a normal life," Michael said. "She wanted our sons to grow up normal." Michael started crying on the witness stand. "I failed to protect my sons. I brought a monster into our home. I am so sorry." Judge Reynolds called a break. Michael came back to sit with Jake and Luke. Jake hugged his father. After the break, Michelle called Jake to testify. Jake stood up. His legs felt weak. Susan Morris, the victim advocate, walked with him to the witness stand. Judge Reynolds looked down at him kindly. "Hello, Jake. Do you know what it means to tell the truth?" "Yes," Jake said. His voice was quiet. "Good. Just answer the questions as best you can." Michelle stood up. She smiled at Jake. "Jake, can you tell us about living with Karen?" Jake took a deep breath. He told the jury about the small bedroom, the old clothes with holes, the cold dinners after everyone else ate, Karen yelling at him for small mistakes. "Did you ever have new clothes?" Michelle asked. "No," Jake said. "Karen bought new clothes for Emma and Tyler, but not for us." "How did that make you feel?" "Sad," Jake said, "and angry. I did not understand why she hated us." "Tell us about the airport," Michelle said. Jake described everything, Karen telling them to sit on the bench, Karen walking away with Emma and Tyler, watching through the window as she boarded the plane, realizing she left them behind on purpose. "What did you think when you realized she left you?" Michelle asked. "I thought we were going to die," Jake said. "I thought nobody would find us. I thought we would end up alone forever." Several jury members wiped their eyes. Robert Caldwell stood up to cross-examine Jake. Judge Reynolds gave him a warning look. "Keep your questions appropriate, counselor." "Of course, Your Honor," Robert Caldwell said. He walked toward Jake. "Jake, is it possible you misunderstood? Maybe Karen thought your father had your tickets." "No," Jake said. "She told us to wait. Then she left. She did not tell anyone we were there." "But you are just 7 years old. Maybe you do not remember correctly." "I remember everything," Jake said. His voice got stronger. "She left us on purpose." "No further questions," Robert Caldwell said. Michelle stood up again. "Jake, do you want to say anything else to the jury?" Jake looked at the 12 people watching him. Then he looked at Karen. She was staring at him now. Her eyes were cold. Jake spoke directly to her. "You tried to throw us away, but we are not garbage. We are people, and our mom loved us. She built something amazing for us. You tried to steal it, but you failed." The courtroom was completely silent. "Thank you, Jake," Judge Reynolds said softly. "You may step down." Jake walked back to his father. Michael wrapped his arms around him. "I am so proud of you," Michael whispered. The trial continued for 2 more days. Karen's lawyer tried to argue that everything was a misunderstanding. He said Karen was confused at the airport. He said she never meant to hurt anyone. But the evidence was overwhelming. The security footage, the videos from the plane, the internet searches, the testimony from multiple witnesses. On the 3rd day, both lawyers gave closing arguments. Michelle stood before the jury. Karen Brooks Martinez is a predator. She targeted a grieving widower and his vulnerable children. She researched Sarah Chen before she ever met Michael Martinez. She knew about the $400 million inheritance. She married Michael to get access to that money. And when she realized the boys stood in her way, she tried to eliminate them. She abandoned 2 7-year-old children in an airport. She got on a plane and flew away. She did not care what happened to them. This is not a mistake. This is not confusion. This is calculated cruelty, and she must be held accountable. Robert Caldwell gave his closing argument. He said Karen made a mistake but did not commit a crime. He said the boys were in a safe airport with security nearby. He said there was no proof Karen intended harm. The jury left to deliberate. Jake, Luke, Michael, James, and Captain Miller waited in a room down the hall. 3 hours later, a court officer came to get them. The jury has reached a verdict. They filed back into the courtroom. Karen sat at her table. Her face was pale. Her hands gripped the edge of the table. The jury filed in. None of them looked at Karen. Judge Reynolds spoke. Has the jury reached a verdict? The jury foreperson stood. She was a woman in her 50s with short brown hair. We have, Your Honor. On the charge of child endangerment, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of attempted fraud, how do you find? Guilty. Karen screamed. She stood up so fast her chair fell over. This is wrong. I did not do anything. You are all wrong. Judge Reynolds banged her gavel. Mrs. Martinez, sit down or you will be removed. Karen's lawyer pulled her back into her seat. She kept screaming. Those brats ruined my life. I should have left them at the airport permanently. Every person in the courtroom heard her. The jury, the judge, the reporters, everyone. Jake looked at his father. Michael had tears running down his face. We won, Michael whispered. We won. Security officers surrounded Karen. She continued screaming as they pulled her away from the table. Her voice echoed through the courtroom even as they took her out the door. Judge Reynolds waited until the room was quiet again. She looked at the jury. Thank you for your service. You are dismissed. The jury members filed out. Some of them looked at Jake and Luke as they passed. One woman smiled sadly at them. Michelle Patterson came over to where Michael sat with the boys. James and Captain Miller stood behind them. The sentencing hearing will be in 2 weeks, Michelle said. Judge Reynolds will decide how long Karen spends in prison. How long do you think she will get? Michael asked. For child endangerment and fraud, probably 2 to 5 years, Michelle said. I am going to argue for the maximum. What she did was calculated and cruel. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras and microphones. They shouted questions as the family walked down the steps. Mr. Martinez, how do you feel about the verdict? Jake, Luke, what do you want to say to your stepmother? Is it true the inheritance is worth $400 million? Captain Miller and James formed a barrier around the boys. Michael held their hands tight. They pushed through the crowd to James's car. Once they were safely inside, Luke started crying. Not sad crying, relief crying. It is over, Luke said. She cannot hurt us anymore. Jake did not cry. He stared out the window as they drove away from the courthouse. He felt empty, not happy, not sad, just empty. They drove back to San Diego that evening. Michael ordered pizza for dinner. They ate in their small house near the beach. Nobody talked much. Everyone was exhausted. That night, Jake had a nightmare. He dreamed Karen came to their house. She broke down the door. She grabbed Luke and tried to take him away. Jake woke up screaming. Michael ran into the room. You are safe. It was just a dream. It felt real, Jake said. I know, Michael said. But Karen is in jail. She cannot get to you. The judge denied bail after the verdict. She is locked up until sentencing. Luke woke up too. Michael sat between both boys until they fell back asleep. 2 weeks later, they returned to Los Angeles for sentencing. The courtroom was less crowded this time. No reporters inside, just the family, Michelle Patterson, and a few court staff. Karen was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit. Her hands were cuffed. She looked thinner. Her hair was greasy. She did not look at anyone. Judge Reynolds entered. Everyone stood. We are here for sentencing in the case of the People versus Karen Brooks Martinez, Judge Reynolds said. Mrs. Martinez, please stand. Karen stood. Her lawyer stood next to her. Judge Reynolds looked at papers on her desk. I have reviewed the evidence in this case. I have read the testimony, and I watched the videos of your behavior. Mrs. Martinez, what you did was unconscionable. You targeted a vulnerable family. You married Mr. Martinez under false pretenses. You abused his children, and then you attempted to abandon those children in an airport. You planned this for months. You researched how to access their inheritance. You even researched child abandonment laws to see if you could get away with it. Karen stared at the floor. The law requires me to consider several factors in sentencing, Judge Reynolds continued. The severity of the crime, the defendant's criminal history, the likelihood of rehabilitation, and the impact on the victims. Judge Reynolds looked at Jake and Luke. These boys have been traumatized. They lost their mother 3 years ago. Then they were abused by you. Then you tried to throw them away like garbage. The psychological damage you caused may last for years. Your Honor, my client deeply regrets her actions, Robert Caldwell said. Does she? Judge Reynolds asked. Because the last time she was in this courtroom, she screamed that she should have left the boys at the airport permanently. That does not sound like regret. Robert Caldwell sat down. Mrs. Martinez, I am sentencing you to 3 years in the California Department of Corrections, Judge Reynolds said. You will also pay $50,000 in restitution to Mr. Martinez for emotional distress and therapy costs for the children. You are ordered to have no contact with Jake Martinez, Luke Martinez, or Michael Martinez for the rest of your life. If you attempt to contact them after your release, you will be charged with violating a court order. Do you understand? Yes, Karen said quietly. Bailiff, remove the defendant, Judge Reynolds said. Officers took Karen out of the courtroom. She did not look back. Judge Reynolds looked at Michael. Mr. Martinez, I hope your family finds peace. Those boys are lucky to have you. Thank you, Your Honor, Michael said. Outside the courthouse, Michelle hugged Michael. It is finally over. You can move on now. Thank you for everything, Michael said. You gave us justice. Those boys deserve justice, Michelle said. I hope they heal from this. David Park, Michael's divorce lawyer, met them at a restaurant for lunch. He had good news. Your divorce is final, David said. Karen signed the papers from jail. You are legally free of her. Michael felt like a weight lifted from his chest. What about Emma and Tyler? They will stay with Karen's parents, David said. The court terminated Karen's parental rights. She will not have custody when she gets out of prison. Those poor kids, Michael said. They are in therapy, David said. Their grandparents are taking good care of them. Life slowly returned to normal. Jake and Luke went back to school. They enrolled in a new school near their house. Making friends was hard at first. The other kids had heard about the trial on the news. Some kids whispered and pointed. But Jake made friends with a boy named Marcus who liked soccer. Luke made friends with a girl named Sophie who liked to draw. Slowly, they found their place. Michael went back to work, but he only worked 40 hours a week now. He came home every evening. He made dinner. He helped with homework. He was present. They continued therapy with Dr. Kim. The nightmares became less frequent. Luke talked more openly about his feelings. Jake learned to express his anger in healthy ways. One Saturday in November, Michael took the boys to visit their mother's grave. They had not been since the funeral. Sarah was buried at a cemetery in San Diego overlooking the ocean. They found her headstone. Sarah Chen, beloved mother, 1985 to 2018. Michael placed flowers on the grave. White roses, they were Sarah's favorite. Jake knelt down. He touched the stone. Hi, Mom. It is me, Jake, and Luke is here too. Luke knelt next to his brother. We miss you. A lot happened, Jake said. Dad married someone bad, but Captain Miller saved us. And Uncle James too. They told us about your company. They told us you were amazing. We went to your office, Luke said. We sat in your chair. We saw all the pictures of us. Michael put his hands on both boys' shoulders. Sarah, I am sorry. I should have protected them better, but they are safe now. I promise I will take care of them the way you would have wanted. They stayed at the grave for an hour. They told Sarah about school, about therapy, about the trial. It felt good to talk to her, even if she could not answer back. That evening, a letter arrived from Nevada. It was from Emma. Dear Jake and Luke, I heard about the trial. I am glad you are safe. My grandparents are nice. I am in therapy too. It helps. Tyler is doing better. He wants to write to you too, but he is still scared. I understand if you do not want to talk to us, but I hope someday we can be friends again. Love, Emma. Jake read the letter out loud. Michael asked, "Do you want to write back?" "Yes," Jake said. "She did not do anything wrong. None of this is her fault." Jake wrote a letter that night. "Dear Emma, thank you for writing. I am glad you are safe too. We are not mad at you. You were a victim too. Your mom made terrible choices, but you did not. Tyler did not. You can write to us anytime. Maybe you can visit someday. Your friend, Jake." 2 weeks later, Tyler sent his own letter. It was short. "I am sorry. I should have told someone. I saw how Mom treated you and I was too scared to say anything. I am sorry." Luke wrote back, "It is okay. We forgive you. We are all okay now." Captain Miller visited again in December. He brought Christmas presents, a model airplane for each boy. They spent the afternoon building them at the kitchen table. "Boys, I have something to ask you," Captain Miller said. "Pacific Star Airlines is having a ceremony in January. We are dedicating a plane to your mother's memory. The plane will be called the Sarah Chen. I want you both to be there for the ceremony. Will you come?" "Yes," Jake said immediately. "Will we get to go on the plane?" Luke asked. "You will be the first passengers," Captain Miller said. "We are flying it from San Francisco to San Diego. You will be on board." In January, they went to San Francisco for the ceremony. The event was at Pacific Star headquarters. Hundreds of employees attended. Pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, office staff. James gave a speech about Sarah. He talked about her vision and her determination. He talked about how she built the airline from nothing. "Sarah Chen was a pioneer," James said. "She proved that women could lead in aviation. She proved that hard work and intelligence could overcome any obstacle. And most importantly, she was a devoted mother who wanted her sons to have every opportunity in life. This plane is a tribute to her legacy." They unveiled the aircraft outside. It was a brand new Boeing 737. On the side, painted in elegant letters, it said, "The Sarah Chen." Jake and Luke stood in front of the plane. Employees took pictures. Some people cried. Everyone applauded. Captain Miller flew the inaugural flight. Jake and Luke sat in the cockpit jump seats. They watched Captain Miller work the controls. They watched the ground fall away as they took off. "Your mother loved flying," Captain Miller said over the headset. "She said it made her feel free." Jake looked out at the clouds. He understood what his mother meant. When they landed in San Diego, James pulled the boys aside. "I have something for you." He gave them a wooden box. Inside was a miniature version of Sarah's office. Every detail was perfect. The desk, the bookshelves, the photos. Everything was tiny but exact. "I had this made for you," James said, "so you always have a piece of your mother's work with you." "It is perfect," Luke said. "When you turn 18, you will inherit the real thing," James said. "Until then, you have this to remind you of what she built." That evening, they went to the beach. The sun was setting. The sky turned orange and pink. Jake and Luke ran into the waves. Michael watched them from the sand. Captain Miller sat next to him. "They are healing." "Yes," Michael said. "Slowly, but yes." "Sarah would be proud of you," Captain Miller said. "You made mistakes, but you corrected them. You are being the father she wanted you to be." "I hope so," Michael said. Jake ran back from the water. "Dad, come play with us." Michael stood up. He ran into the ocean. Luke splashed him. Jake laughed. It was the sound Michael had been waiting months to hear, the sound of his sons being happy. They stayed at the beach until dark. When they got home, Luke fell asleep in the car. Michael carried him inside. Jake walked on his own. Before bed, Jake asked, "Dad, are we going to be okay?" "Yes," Michael said without hesitation. "We are going to be okay." "I think Mom would be happy we are safe," Jake said. "I know she is," Michael said. Wherever she is watching over you, and she is proud." That night, Jake did not have nightmares. He dreamed of his mother. She was smiling. She was flying a plane through blue sky, and she was free. 2 years passed. Jake and Luke turned 9 years old in March. Their birthday party was at the beach house. Michael invited their friends from school. Marcus came. Sophie came. 10 other kids from their class came too. They played soccer on the beach. They ate cake. They opened presents. It was a normal birthday party. Normal was something Jake had learned to appreciate. "Make a wish," Michael said as Jake and Luke stood in front of the cake with 9 candles. Jake closed his eyes. He wished that his mother could see them now. He wished she knew they were okay. They blew out the candles together. Everyone cheered. Later that evening, after the guests left, James called. He had a surprise. "I am finally taking you to Hawaii," James said. "The trip Karen tried to steal from you. We are going next month. All of us. You, Luke, your father, Captain Miller, and me." "Really?" Luke shouted into the phone. "Really," James said. "We are staying for 1 week. We have a house right on the beach in Honolulu. Captain Miller is flying us there personally." Jake looked at his father. Michael was smiling. A real smile. Michael smiled a lot now. "Thank you, Uncle James," Jake said. "You deserve it," James said. "Both of you." The weeks before the trip felt long. Jake and Luke counted down the days. Michael took them shopping for swim shorts and sandals, everything new, everything their size. Dr. Kim was happy about the trip. "This is a good step. You are reclaiming something Karen tried to take from you." "I am not scared anymore," Jake said. "Not as much." "That is progress," Dr. Kim said. "Fear does not disappear completely, but you learn to manage it." Luke still drew pictures, but now they were pictures of happy things. He drew the beach. He drew airplanes. He drew his family smiling. The day before the Hawaii trip, they visited Sarah's grave again. Michael brought fresh flowers, white roses. Jake placed the flowers on the headstone. "Hi, Mom. We are going to Hawaii tomorrow. The trip we were supposed to take 2 years ago. We are finally going. Captain Miller is flying us," Luke said. "And Uncle James is coming too." "We are doing really well," Jake continued. "We go to therapy. We have friends. Dad makes us breakfast every morning. We are happy." Michael knelt next to the boys. "Sarah, I wish you were here to see them. They are so strong, so brave. You would be so proud." They stayed for a while. The cemetery was quiet. The ocean was visible from where they sat. The sound of waves filled the air. "Do you think she can hear us?" Luke asked as they walked back to the car. "Yes," Michael said. "I think she can." The next morning, Captain Miller picked them up at 5 o'clock. James met them at the San Diego airport. They drove to the private terminal where Pacific Star Airlines had offices. "We are flying on a special plane today," James said. "The Sarah Chen." The plane was waiting on the tarmac. Jake saw his mother's name painted on the side. He felt proud. They boarded the empty aircraft. It was just the 5 of them. Captain Miller went to the cockpit. A flight attendant named Maria was on board to serve them. "Welcome aboard," Maria said. "Your mother hired me 10 years ago. She was an incredible woman." They sat in first class. The seats were huge and comfortable. Maria brought them orange juice and muffins before takeoff. Captain Miller's voice came over the speaker. "Good morning, passengers. This is Captain Miller. We are flying to Honolulu, Hawaii today. Flight time is approximately 5 hours. Weather looks perfect. Sit back and enjoy the flight." The plane rolled down the runway. Jake looked out the window. The ground moved faster and faster. Then they lifted into the air. Luke pressed his face against the window. "We are flying!" Michael sat between the boys. He put his arms around both of them. "We made it! We are really going to Hawaii!" James sat across the aisle. He raised his juice glass. "To Sarah and to her boys." They all raised their glasses. "To Sarah." During the flight, Captain Miller let Jake and Luke come into the cockpit. They sat in the jump seats and watched him fly. "See that screen?" Captain Miller pointed. That shows our altitude. We are 35,000 feet in the air right now. How fast are we going? Jake asked. 500 miles per hour, Captain Miller said. Wow, Luke said. Your mother flew this route many times when the company was new, Captain Miller said. She loved Hawaii. She said it was the most beautiful place on Earth. They landed in Honolulu 5 hours later. The sun was bright. The air was warm. Palm trees lined the airport. A car was waiting for them. They drove to a house on the beach. The house was white with a red roof. Big windows faced the ocean. This is ours for the week? Michael asked. Pacific Star owns it, James said. We use it for company retreats, but this week, it is all yours. They spent the first day at the beach. Jake and Luke ran into the warm water. It was nothing like the cold ocean in San Diego. This water was clear and blue. Michael taught them to body surf. They rode waves onto the sand. Luke swallowed salt water and coughed. Jake got tumbled by a big wave. But they were laughing. Captain Miller sat on the beach with James. They watched the boys play. Sarah would love this, Captain Miller said. Yes, James agreed. She would. That evening, they walked to a restaurant on the beach. They ate fresh fish and rice. They had shaved ice for dessert, rainbow-flavored. The ice was sweet and cold. This is the best day ever, Luke said. The week in Hawaii passed quickly. They went snorkeling and saw colorful fish. They visited a volcano. They built sand castles. They ate tropical fruit. They stayed up late looking at stars. On their last evening, they had dinner on the beach. James had arranged for a private meal. Tables were set up on the sand. Candles flickered in the breeze. James stood up to make a toast. 2 years ago, something terrible almost happened. Karen tried to destroy this family. She tried to steal from these boys, but she failed. She failed because of Captain Miller's promise. She failed because of your strength, Jake and Luke. And she failed because love is stronger than greed. Captain Miller stood next to James. I made a promise to Sarah. I told her I would watch over her sons. I kept that promise, and I will keep watching over you two for as long as I live. Michael stood up. He was crying but smiling at the same time. Jake, Luke, I failed you once. I let someone hurt you, but I promise you, I will never fail you again. You are my everything. Jake looked at the people around the table. His father, his uncle, Captain Miller. They were his family. Not by blood, all of them, but by choice, by love. Mom built something amazing, Jake said. Not just the airline. She built this. She made sure we would always have people to take care of us. She was very smart, Luke said. I wish I remembered her better. We will keep telling you stories, James said, so you will always know who she was. They flew home to San Diego the next day. When they landed, Jake felt different, lighter. The trip had healed something inside him. School started again in the fall. Jake was in 4th grade. Luke was too. They were in different classes but ate lunch together every day. Jake joined the soccer team. He was fast and good at defense. Luke joined art club. He won an award for a painting of an airplane. In October, a letter arrived from Nevada. It was from Emma. She was 11 now. She wanted to visit. Her grandparents were driving to San Diego for the weekend. Could she see Jake and Luke? Michael asked the boys what they thought. I want to see her, Jake said. She was not the one who hurt us. They met at the beach on a Saturday. Emma looked different, taller. Her hair was longer. She looked nervous. Hi, Emma said. Hi, Jake said. They sat on the sand together. Tyler was there too. He was 10 now. He did not say much at first. How are you? Emma asked. Good, Jake said. Really good. We went to Hawaii. We have friends at school. Dad is different now. I am glad, Emma said. I think about you all the time. I think about what Mom did. That was not your fault, Luke said. I know, Emma said. My therapist says that too. But I still feel bad. They spent the afternoon together, building sandcastles. running from waves. It was awkward at first, but slowly it felt more normal. Tyler finally spoke. "I am sorry I did not tell anyone. I saw what she did to you." "You were scared," Jake said. "We understand." "Are we still family?" Tyler asked. Jake thought about it. "Yes, we are still family. Different than before, but still family." Emma and Tyler visited twice more that year. Each time was easier. The wounds were healing. On their 10th birthday in March, James had another surprise. He brought them to Pacific Star headquarters in San Francisco. He took them to Sarah's office. Everything was still exactly as she left it. "I want to show you something," James said. He pulled out a folder. "This is your mother's original business plan. She wrote it when she was 25 years old. She had one small plane and a dream." Jake read the paper. His mother's handwriting, her ideas, her goals. "She wanted to build an airline that people could trust," James said. "An airline that was safe and affordable. An airline that treated employees like family." "Did she do it?" Luke asked. "Yes," James said. "Pacific Star Airlines now has 80 planes. We fly to 15 countries. We employ over 3,000 people, and your mother built all of it." "When we turn 18, what happens?" Jake asked. "You inherit the company," James said. "Both of you together. You can choose to run it yourselves. You can sell it. You can keep me as manager. Whatever you want. It will be your choice." "What if we do not know what to do?" Jake asked. "Then you have 8 more years to figure it out," James said. "And I will help you every step of the way." That evening, they flew back to San Diego. As they approached the city, the sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. "Dad," Jake said, "I think I want to run the airline someday. I want to keep what Mom built." Michael looked at his son. "You do not have to decide now." "I know," Jake said, "but I think that is what I want. I want to make her proud." "You already make her proud," Michael said. They landed and drove home. The little house near the beach. It was small, but it was theirs. It was safe. It was filled with love. That night, Luke could not sleep. He came into Jake's bed. "Are you okay?" Jake asked. "I am good," Luke said. "I just wanted to ask you something." "What? Do you think Mom is proud of us?" Jake thought about everything that happened. The pain, the fear, the trial, the healing, the growth. "Yes," Jake said. "I think she is very proud." Michael appeared in the doorway. "What are you two talking about?" "Mom," Jake said. Michael came and sat on the bed. "You know what I think? I think your mother knew exactly what she was doing. She worked hard her whole life. She built an empire. And she did it all for you two. She made sure you would always be taken care of. She made sure Captain Miller would watch over you. She made sure Uncle James would manage the company. She planned everything." "Except dying," Luke said quietly. "No," Michael agreed. "She did not plan that. But even in death she protected you. She made sure you would have everything you needed." "We have more than we need," Jake said. "We have you. We have Uncle James. We have Captain Miller. We have each other." "That is what your mother wanted most," Michael said. "Love, family, safety." Michael stayed with them until they fell asleep. Then he went to his own room. He looked at a picture of Sarah on his nightstand. It was from their wedding day. She was smiling. "I kept them safe," Michael whispered to the picture. "It took me too long, but I did it. They are okay now." The next morning was Sunday. Michael made pancakes. He burned them a little, just like Sarah used to. "These taste perfect," Luke said. They ate breakfast together. Then they walked to the beach. The sun was bright. The ocean was calm. Other families played in the sand. Jake and Luke ran into the water. Michael followed them. They splashed and played for hours. When they came out of the water, Luke said, "Dad, are we going to be okay forever?" "Forever is a long time," Michael said. "But yes, I think we are going to be okay." "Good," Luke said. Jake looked at his brother, at his father, at the ocean, at the blue sky. "Mom is still with us, is not she?" Jake said. Michael smiled. Every single day, they walked home as the sun began to set. 3 people, 1 family, safe and loved and whole. Sarah Chen built an airline worth $400 million. But her real legacy was not the planes or the money. Her real legacy was the love she left behind. Love that protected her sons even after she was gone. Love that brought people together. Love that defeated evil. Karen tried to destroy them. She failed. Because love is stronger than greed. Family is stronger than cruelty. And promises, when kept, can save lives. Jake and Luke Martinez had 8 more years until they inherited Pacific Star Airlines. 8 more years of childhood. 8 more years of school and soccer and art and friends. 8 more years of healing. And when they turned 18, they would decide together what to do with their mother's empire. But that was future. Right now, they were 9 years old. Right now, they were safe. Right now, they were home. The story of how they almost lost everything and how they were saved would stay with them forever. It would make them stronger, kinder, more aware of the people who try to hurt others. But it would not define them. They were more than victims. They were survivors. They were Sarah Chen's sons, and they would make her proud. The sun set completely. Stars appeared in the dark sky. Inside the little house near the beach, lights turned on. Laughter filled the rooms. A family, imperfect but real, broken but healing, together. And somewhere, Sarah Chen watched over them and smiled. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen